Okay. So this class is the 7th month in the advanced course. So just one more class to go for the advanced part of the course. And then after that I'll have another course, probably, I don't know, about maybe, either later in the fall or maybe 2011 or something, for the expert course, where I'll go through all 20 Kundalini Kriyas. So in this book, we actually finished the advanced classes, the advanced practices last month. So we're on the Kriya Yoga section of this book. So this is where they cover the 20 Kundalini Kriyas of Kriya Yoga. But they also cover, a lot of asanas, a lot of, other breathing techniques. Like again, so far we've just been practicing Nadi Shodhana, but in the last section they cover, Vastrika, Kapalabhati, all of the other pranayama techniques. So I've been thinking about how I was going to approach the last part of the book. And I've decided that what I'm going to do is basically, I'll leave it up to, people to decide for themselves what they want to practice. I won't cover the asanas or the pranayama techniques that are given in the last section. I'll use the last section. This section of the book will basically be used in the expert course, where I'll go through the 20 Kundalini Kriyas of Kriya Yoga. Because basically, that's basically what you end up practicing. Basically, the final practice is just those 20 Kundalini Kriyas, right? So, everything else I've shown you, like what I'll do today, month 7, and next month, month 8, those basically cover all of the prerequisites required for Kriya Yoga, the Kundalini Kriyas themselves. So I think I'm just going to stick with that. There's also Yoga Nidra is covered in this section of the book, and that we'll do next month.
When you do Kundalini Kriya Yoga, you still have to do your other Surya Namaskara or something like that?
Well, usually, I do those 3 practices last month. Remember I showed you kind of the Surya Namaskara, spinal twist, and Vyaghrasana Kriya? Yeah. I usually do those first, and then I begin the 20 Kundalini Kriyas, right?
But according to the book, it is that should be done every day when you're doing it? Okay.
Well, they say at least do some, Surya Namaskara, right? As a minimum before you do the, just to get the body moving, get the blood flowing, and then you can begin the Kundalini Kriyas, right? So, so actually there is one asana that I actually do practice from this last section. So I'll just cover that one today, and that will pretty much be it for this book in the advanced part of the course anyways. I'll use this book again for the Kundalini Kriyas themselves, but for right now, I'll be more or less finished with this book. So the asana is the wheel pose. Actually, I showed it to you. It was one of the ones we used. Yes, exactly that one. So we'll do that one today. They have another one given, the bridge. And I'll show you one more I showed you before, the shoulder bridge. Anyways, I'll show you kind of as a preparation for doing the wheel. Right? So let's... okay. So the first one here they give you is Setu Asana, which means bridge pose. Pretty simple. You just start it like this, right? And you want to keep your knees straight. You're going to lift yourself up on your arms as high as you can. You let your head drop back and you point your toes forward as much as you can as well, alright? So basically it's just like this. I'll just demonstrate, right? And then back down.
You hold your breath.
And you hold your breath. You inhale and hold. Right? Inhale deeply, hold the breath while raising. And then, exhale when returning to starting position.
Now how do you start it?
Yeah, just like this.
You don't bend your legs?
No, you push your pelvis up. All right. Yes, there you go. That's it. Yep. Okay, good. Perfect. And exhale and come back down. Good. So the next practice is called the wheel, Chakrasana. So that one. So again, to prepare for that one, another preparation for that one is the shoulder bridge. So I showed you this one before, right? It's you start like this, You hold on to your ankles. Right? Okay. Your arms are on the ground. And again, you push your pelvis up as high as you can. So like this. And you come up on your shoulders. And then relax. Right? You come up on your shoulders, right? So you saw how I did it, right? Yeah, that's right. Just lift your pelvis up as high as you can. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Yeah, and then back down. So so the wheel pose is almost the same thing, except this time you come right up on your hands. So you put your hands. Again, keep your heels up close to your buttocks. Okay. Put your hands underneath your shoulders. Usually I do this the easiest way to do this is in a two-step process too, and at least when you're starting out. You can do it in one go once you're better, but I'll show you the simple two-step process. So the first thing you do is you come up onto your head, right? You rest on your head, so just like this. And then like that, okay? You can reposition your hands, go under your shoulders, right? And then from here you push with your hands and you go up all the way. Right, so like that. And then you can just breathe normally in the final pose. Hold it for as long as you like. Take a good stretch in the back. And then come back down. Okay, you good? So that's the...
There is a limitation, I think, with this one for the low back problems.
yes, yeah. I mean,
Pardon, they say?
if you have any back problems, you have to be careful with these asanas for sure. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay, so that's pretty much it for this book, for the at least for the advanced part of the course. Okay, I'll just okay. So now we'll take a look at this book and the practices for month 7. Well, actually, the practices for month 7 are related to Bindu, right? So first they have there's a discussion of Bindu. So basically, we've actually finished all the chakras. Actually, the remaining spiritual points that are used are kind of beyond the chakras, right? Bindu is the first one. It's referred to as the source of creation. Is beyond the realm of all conventional experience, right? And therefore, there's like not much written about it actually. And we talked about it a bit last month, right? It's where the drop of nectar comes from Bindu down to Vishuddhi, right? And through that you can, eliminate your need for eating food, in fact, right? They also talk about, how, the different, like, what am I going to say here? So, the digestive system is connected with Manipura chakra, right? The urogenital reproductive systems with Swadhisthana and Muladhara, right? Respiratory system here, the heart is associated with Anahata, right? And in the case of Bindu is like located at the, from the top of the head where your head kind of begins to curve back, right? Your head is flat on top, and there's a point where it starts to curve back. So just at the back, just when it starts to curve at the back, just at the back of the head in the center. Just right when it begins to curve down, right? So up high, back to the center. So it's from this point it says that the 10 paired cranial nerves, which emerge along the brain stem from the associated centers, are considered to have their origins within Bindu, right? The whole nasal, visual, nasal, auditory, and tasting systems are ultimately manifestations from Bindu. So it controls this whole region of your head. The location I just showed you. Something about the location. Again, some swamis they shave their heads and they keep one bit of hair, one tuft of hair, just right on Bindu, and they braid it tight, right? And it goes down their back. I don't know if you've seen that. Yeah. Again, the idea here is when you braid it tight, it creates a little pull, so you can actually feel it. Makes it easy to meditate on that point then, because you can actually feel a pull from your hair.
Like right? In India, a lot of kids also, like a lot of adults also keep that thing. Yes. And the reason is, the purpose is the same, probably.
Yes, exactly, yeah. He goes on to say that many people have actually forgotten now in India why they do that. There's actually a spiritual point there. Same thing like the stika here is like, it's a Brahmudi, right? Again, many people don't even know that though, right?
Just custom.
It's just a custom, exactly.
The custom has been forgotten. That's
right, the original reason is forgotten. So they also talk a little bit about the, the physical body anatomy. So for example, Ajna chakra at the top of the spine is right where the pineal gland is, right? So similar, there's a gland here for Bindu up here as well. But he says here that there are no, anatomy books that have actually identified it. Symbology is kind of interesting, right? So it's associated with the moon, right? The crescent moon. So if you look at the Om symbol, for example, so the Om symbol, right, actually has above it is the crescent moon. In fact, all the chakras are represented in the Om symbol, he says, right? But Bindu is above and separate from the whole symbol. It sits at the top as the crescent moon at the top, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that represents Bindu actually. Again, the seat of the nectar. We talked about that. He actually discusses that you can actually go, not only without food, but he says without oxygen, right? People have gone without food and without oxygen for 40 days, right? Using the power of Bindu. And he says, so when you do he describes the technique, right? Metabolism of the cells and the tissues of the body is suspended, right? In this way, oxygen is no longer required, and cellular wastes are not produced. Therefore, the person who hibernates can live without breathing for an extended period of time. Even the facial hair does not grow during this period, right?
They're sleeping for 40 days.
Hmm?
They're sleeping for 40 days.
Oh no, because when you're sleeping, your hair will still grow. You'll still breathe when you sleep, right? So they're saying you stop all metabolic.
Meditate for 40 days.
Even meditate when you're breathing. You breathe when you meditate too, right?
But some of the state probably then.
So what they do physically, they cannot act and as
yeah,
usual,
well,
they have to sit and
again, it requires it's about the it's about using Bindu and the nectar,
right,
and all of that. You have to again, it's a very specially elaborate technique to do that. It's very it's just he's just mentioning it out of obscurity, right? Just to let you know the extent of that you can go to, but it's not something anybody else would normally do, right?
But they say, oh, this Swami has done this, that means they've been there for like 20 days, 30 days, that means they're really using these techniques?
Maybe, you'd have to see. Well, I mean, everyone does something different, right? So. But this is one possible thing that sometimes they try and do, right? To go without breathing, like they hold their breath, actually, they just stop the breathing. And what they do is they...
in which pose they do that? In meditation?
Yeah, meditation pose, yeah. You actually close off the nasal passages, in fact, right? So there's no air can go through, right? And so, anyways, just an oddity there. So it's the so there's a couple of things. Like I said, it's the point of creation. It's also kind of a portal. It's the portal to the infinite, right? To all that is, right? It's to God or whatever, right? And and God or the infinite is kind of represented by a sahasrara, which we'll talk about next month in more detail. But it's the portal to, Sahasrara, essentially. He talks a bit about how, it's also the blueprint, right? So like how our DNA is the blueprint of our entire body, right? Of all of life. How, the whole universe is created from like a seed in the Big Bang, right? That kind of concept is what Bindu is. It's the point of creation. He talks a little bit about the kind of the red and white, the male and female aspects of Bindu, like the sperm and the ovum. So it's also connected with, not only connected with Vishuddhi Chakra, but it's also connected with the Swadhisthana, because it's, again, Swadhisthana is related with the sexual function with creation as well, right? So there's a connection there too. Right, so the red Bindus and the sun, the white Bindus and the moon, and you try to bring them together to kind of create union, right? And he who realizes the essential oneness of the two Bindus, when the red Bindu merges with the white Bindu, alone knows yoga. So actually, we have some time. Before we get to these practices here, we'll do usual 5 minutes of Nadi Shodhana, right? So again, Nadi Shodhana, I've covered it all completely. Right? We've done the whole thing. We've added the 3 blocks. We're pretty much, the entire practice has been given, right? So just, and again, you keep progressing with your breath retention, right? So whatever level you're at, let's just, we'll do about 5 minutes. You sit in your yoga posture. Everyone should be, been doing Nadi Shodhana now for 7 months. Everyone should be pretty familiar with it. Okay, so again, just practice at your own pace. Apply whatever blocks you feel comfortable applying, and we'll go for about 5 minutes. Okay, just begin at whenever you like. So there's several things about Bindu. I guess we'll discuss them as we look at each of the practices. So I guess so one of the things, there's no you know how all the chakras have some point at the back and some point at the front, right? Bindu is no such case. There's no point up here, just at the back of the head.
It's not across from this one?
No. They're here, Ajna Chakra, the Brahmani is here, right?
This one here.
Yeah, well, there might be a minor point there, I'm not sure, but we don't. It's not used in these
picture. It looks like it's across from this stuff.
Exactly, it's across from here. That's right, it's across from here, right? Yeah, at the back. But yeah, there's no. I don't think there's a spiritual point here, though. So
that's the purpose of Bindu. It's a point.
Yeah.
But there's no corresponding, like matter, antimatter. It's not. There's no other corresponding Bindu.
Yeah. Well, like I said, there's the red and the white we were talking about before, right?
There are two different
the sun and the moon,
beings.
right? So, yeah. So Bindu itself is generally associated with the white, the male, the sperm, that thing.
Mm-hmm.
And red Bindu is the female, the sun, the ova, and all of that. So, and it's actually Muladhara is actually where red Bindu is, and the white Bindu is here, and red Bindu is at Muladhara, right? So you unite those two, right? You bring the actually Muladhara, you bring the energy up to unite with Bindu at the top, right? That's the idea. But so anyways, there's several practices given for to get sensitivity to Bindu, to bring him to awaken it. The first one's called Murcha Pranayam, the fainting breath. Right. So again, as you're saying, there's some contraindications for this one. You shouldn't have high blood pressure. You shouldn't have any kind of brain problem, right? So, because this one involves try to kind of induce fainting sensation, in fact, right? So you hold your breath basically for as long as you can, right? To try to induce that.
What's the advantage of that?
Clears the mind. You forget everything.
To faint your mind, okay?
Yeah. Because the biggest problem with yoga is you always are distracted by some other thought, right? There's always some distraction, some other thought coming into your head, right? See, the idea is to, be in the present moment, completely absorbed 100% in the present instant, right?
And this can only be achieved by practicing fainting.
Well, it's one of the techniques, right? It's
yeah.
one of the techniques, right? So, and again, this is particularly good for, awakening Bindu at the back, right? So again, sit in Setu Asana. Body straight. You do Kachari Mudra, right? So you fold the tongue up and back. Inhale with Ujjayi Pranayam, so you constrict the throat slightly, so you have a slight noise when you inhale. Right. So as you inhale, you tilt the head backwards, about this far, right? So again, it's not all the way back. It's about just up to here, right? Go like this, right? And you do Shambhavi Mudra, right? So Shambhavi Mudra is where you cross your eyes and you try to look at this point here, right? So you kind of use your finger, right, and kind of just bring your eyes to this point. Slow and deep inhalation, lean backwards, not completely back. And then you hold your breath. After you do the inhale, you hold your breath for as long as you can, right? And you focus your attention, so you cross your eyes to look here, but your attention is focused at Bindu at the back of your head.
With open eyes?
Open eyes, yes.
Open eyes?
Yes, open eyes.
Oh, so I thought it was just close eyes.
Yeah, no, open eyes. Your eyes are focused here. You're looking here. Okay. Your attention, you're concentrating on the back, on Bindu, looking here, right? And breath held inside, right? Arms are like locked. Arms are locked up, like that. Okay. And then basically just hold it as long as you can. And then you exhale, right? You tilt your head forward, back again, right? And you can close your eyes at that point as well. Your eyes will need to rest too. After you're doing Shambhavi Mudra, your eyes will want to rest. You'll close your eyes. And again, just breathe a little bit. relax for a short time, you know, and then you do it one more time. You keep repeating it, right? So you just relax, get your breathing back to normal, and then repeat, right? So we'll do like we'll do a couple of those, you know. Generally, we'll practice this for like, you know, maybe 5 times or something, 5 or 10 times, depending how long you can hold your breath for. Again, just inhale with the J, Kachari Mudra, right? Right? So that's pretty much it. You just repeat that you know, a few times. Do it for about 5 minutes, right?
It should not be probably done in this light.
That's right. I was noticing that too.
It's too bright.
The light in your eyes. Yeah, at home I do it in the dark, right?
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
early morning with.
Yeah. So the next practice is, again, this is the one for, if you remember, for Swadhisthana Chakra, Vajroli or Sajoli Mudra. This is where you sit in Setu Asana again as usual. Close the eyes this time, right? So you take awareness to the urethra, urinary tract, right? And you contract it, right? So it's like you're holding back, like when you hold back the urination, right? So you urinate and you hold it back, those muscles, and you contract, right? So you contract those muscles as much as you can, like you try to hold that contraction for about 10 seconds, right? Again, don't do Mula Bandha or Shroni Mudra, just the urinary tract. You try to isolate those muscles and contract that, right? And hold it. Bring your attention to Swadhisthana on the spine, right? Just right at the base of the spine. And repeat 3 times, right? Swadhisthana, Swadhisthana, Swadhisthana. And then draw your awareness up the spine. Move your mind up the spine, right? All the way up, up to Bindu, right? Once your awareness is at Bindu, you repeat Bindu 3 times. Bindu, 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 right? Mentally, just mentally repeat, right? And then bring your awareness back down. Okay, just Swadhisthana. And then release the contraction. So the whole thing should take about 10 seconds. You hold the contraction 3 times, mentally repeat here, take awareness up, 3 times repeat here, mentally go down, and then release the contraction. Right? So release the contraction and just relax for another, 5 or 10 seconds, and then you would repeat, you would hold the contraction, do it again, right? Again, another one, you just do it for about 5 minutes or so. So again, we'll just try it once, right?
Breathing?
Breathe normally. The main thing is just to focus on that contraction. Right? So that's basically that one. And again, you'll feel between those 2 practices alone, I found that you're able to start to become sensitive to Bindu. So the next 3 practices all go together. 3, 4, actually 3 and 4, right? There's 2 more practices. But the next practice you actually start off with Brahmari Pranayama. If you remember that one, it was the one where you, the humming bee breath, right? You close your ears, you just hum very softly, and you will hear that, you hear that in your head, right? Right? It becomes quite loud in your head. So you do that for a few minutes first, just to begin with. And then you just, and then you stop that and you keep listening, right? With your ears plugged. You just keep listening, and you'll, again, in my case, I hear a lot of different sounds, right? And you'll have to see what you hear. I hear like a little rumbling, everything from like a low rumbling, very low, to very high-pitched whine. You know, I hear, and everything in between, right? So some will be loud, some will be quiet. Again, I'm not sure what your experience will be. It's hard to say, you know, I mean, you'll have to see for yourself what you're going to hear. And basically the idea is you focus on, you know, on the loud sound, the loudest sound, let's say. Spend some time, you know, maybe a minute or so focusing on that one. And then you search for what other sound, and then you take your attention to the second loudest sound, right? Focus on that one for a minute. And you keep going to the more quieter, and then you search for what is the next most quiet sound, and then you move your attention to that sound.
But then after some time, it just the voice will go away because you're not humming anymore.
Yeah. No. You stop humming. You do only the humming for like a couple minutes.
Exactly, and then after
then
that,
you stop the humming, and then you just listen. Yes. Right? Just listen to what you hear. So.
But the noise level will
So
go
I guess
away.
so. It says some people will hear nothing, right? Some people won't hear anything, right? Their ears are plugged. They don't hear anything. Again, my case is that this is the game I used to play when I was a kid. Actually, this is something I did as a kid. I would plug my ears and just listen to the sounds. Probably, you know, something from my past life memory of doing this yoga. I didn't know at that time it was a yoga practice, but I probably might have done it in my past life or something, right? So, I mean, I had a lot of sounds right off the bat, right? So, again, if you don't hear anything, just listen, you know, in silence. Just listen to the sound. I mean, they talk about the sound of silence, right? I don't know if you heard of that or ever heard it. Whenever it's like quiet, you hear something. There's no real sound, but you're hearing something. I don't know, you've experienced that? Anybody? No? The sound of silence? No?
I think I've noticed it before, but not anymore. Don't get the free time anymore.
So anyways, again, you eventually go back to the sound of creation, right? You'll actually eventually hear the sound like Om. Om is the sound of creation. You'll actually kind of hear that, you know, in the nothingness, right? In the silence. You'll hear a sound in the silence, right? And you may hear a lot of sounds. I hear a lot of sounds for example. Like I said, it says that eventually you'll hear sounds. You'll hear like a lot of sounds, one after another, right? And you keep going deeper and deeper into your being and into your mind, right? As you go to ever subtler and more subtle and subtle sounds, right? So, anyways, try it, right? It says it may take you many weeks, right? It requires over weeks and months, right, to start to perceive these sounds, right? And again, you know, I mean, everyone is different, right, depending on what your past experience has been, right? Past lives, what you've done and all that, right? So, but give it a try. This, again, is very, because again, the sound of creation is also associated with the creation is what Bindu is all about, right? So
we don't concentrate on Bindu, we just listen.
Yeah, so what you'll find though, what you'll experience is that the sounds will be in different parts of your head. Maybe this close to this here, maybe near this here, maybe this here. But eventually you'll get to a sound which is coming from Bindu. You'll hear a sound right at Bindu, right? And that's the idea. Because that's the source of creation, the sound of creation will come from here, right? So, but again, wherever in your head you hear a sound, just focus on the sound. Actually, that's the main thing I think, is just the sound itself. And go for, and keep searching for the next more subtle sound, right? The final practice is, like I'll explain these last two practices because they kind of go together. So you've got your ears plugged already, right? So this one actually, there's a couple different hand positions here. Let's talk about the hand positions. Because this last one has this very specific hand position. So, so again, you can do this one with your index fingers, right? again, I showed you with the index from Brahmari Pranayama where you're humming and elbows out, right? But you know, your arms will tend to get tired, right? So if you can do this, I mean, like again, it'll build up your muscles, right? If you can do this for like 10-15 minutes, hold your arms out like that, right? But they give another in this book actually. It's Nada Yoga. I mean, I don't know if you remember, we kind of passed through fairly quickly because again, it's in the wrong place. But you can go back and read the chapters on Nada. There's 2 lessons on Nada Yoga in here. They explain this in more detail, but they give another alternate hand position where you put your thumbs in your ears. And you just, and then you rest your hands in your head, right? So like this kind of, you know, no glasses, right? Right, so...
but you don't change positions in the middle of practice. It's either one way or the other way.
That's right. So, you know, I mean... So the thing is, because the last practice, right? The last practice, you have to go with your thumbs, right? So I'll just show you the hand position here, right? The hand position here is actually, not only do you close your ears, but they call it the closing the 7 gates, right? So all the senses of perception. So you put your fingers on your eyes, you actually hold your breath too, you close your nostrils with these fingers. These 2 close your eyes, these ones close your nostrils, and you put these 2 on your lips, like that, right? So it's like... you know? So I'll just demonstrate, right? So 2 on your lips, 2 covering your nose, 2 on your eyes, and then your thumbs go in your ears, right?
Humming is also.
Right? So just like that. So you're not breathing as well. And again, same thing, you just listen to the sounds, right? When you stop the breathing as well, the sound of breathing goes away too, right? So then you can really focus on silence.
Inhaling and stopping.
Exactly, right? So I'll talk about that one a bit too. So again, you sit in Sadhana, same asana, right? Actually, do you do Kachari Mudra in here? I was just looking for that one, I think. Yeah, no Kachari Mudra. So inhale slowly and deeply, right? Again, hold as much air as you can. Then you close the 7 gates. And then hear the sounds, right? And they said at this point you should really focus. Then here now, after this final practice, you do focus on Bindu, right? Or actually says even the middle of the head or the right ear, actually anywhere you hear the sound coming from. And you hold your breath for as long as you can, and then when you can't anymore, you release your middle fingers and you exhale. And then just once your breathing is back to normal, you repeat, right? And then just about the sounds, about continuing to search for the more subtle sound, essentially, right? Because you'll hear, I can only go by my own experience where I have like loud sounds, right? I do this and right away, almost immediately, I will start to hear a lot of sounds. So there'll be a very loud sound, and then there'll be a more quieter sound. So then you focus on the loud sound, and then go to the next quieter sound. And then after you focus on the next one, you'll see there's an even more quiet sound. Then you go to the next more quiet sound, right? And then after that one, you'll see there's another more quiet sound, and you keep going. Right?
And you are still hearing the more louder. Exactly,
you're still hearing all the sounds, but you focus your attention on the ever more quiet sound, right? Again, that's my experience. That's my experience.
And that's required practice also, probably considering on the.
And again, it's important too to again, if you have any other noise. So again, early in the morning, right? Everyone's asleep. The house is quiet, right? Again, I have the windows closed, so there's no outdoor sound, even no birds or nothing either, right? So it's quiet, silence, and then close your ears to make it even more quiet, and then you just listen, right? So silence and you listen. So we can do this give it a try for like 5 minutes, right? So do like 2 minutes. I'll tell you when to switch to the breath retention one. So we'll start off like just humming, slight humming, and then I'll tell you when to switch to each one, right? So again, you can do fingers or thumbs, whichever you prefer, right? Only with, I'll go with thumbs. Okay, now leave the humming and go to the just silence. try closing the 7 gates.
Like, I remember this noise, something tuk 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 tuk.
Yeah.
Like this,
Yeah.
like it's like a steam engine probably, or like something like.
Yes. Yeah. All kinds of noises.
But I hear more on my right hand, like just really close to my right ear.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It may be something to do with if you got some injury or something.
No, it actually says right ear is one of the common places you'll hear noises.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it says in here.
Okay.
Middle of the head or perhaps the right ear.
Yeah.
Right? It says specifically that. So that's it for the practices for Bindu. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. So I guess that's it for this class. We'll see you next month for the last class. Okay, thanks.
Do we get a certificate for completing?
Yeah.